whatever one thinks of Donald Trump, if you look at the indictments, they're falling apart as we speak. Jack Smith, now the federal prosecutor, we were told had the strongest case. How is he going to say that Donald Trump put them in an unsecured place when he looks at the Biden garage and the Biden home? How is he going to say that Donald Trump should have notified the archivist he had these when Joe Biden did not? How is he going to say that Trump had no ability to declassify them when he did, and Joe Biden never did until he was president, which was post facto? When you look at Fani Willis, we were told that he made a phone call at me as if I was running against you, John, and I called the register and said, I know I beat John. There has to be 10,000, 12,000 votes. Can you just find them and see if they're there? That's not election. That's a freedom of speech expression. But that prosecutor now, who ran on the platform to indict Donald Trump, has lied under oath and said that she was not romantically involved with a prosecutor that she picked who had never tried a felony, had never tried a criminal case, and was making over double, according to her receipts, of what all the other prosecutors who had tried felonies and had been had criminal experience. And then, of course, there was $650,000 that were billed to him. We know he met with the White House counsel, and we know they went on junkets and they lied about the entire thing. That case is imploding. Alvin Bragg is trying to say that a non-disclosure agreement of an embarrassing tryst, if it did take place, is somehow a campaign violation. Barack Obama in 2012 paid $375,000 for campaign violations, which all were considered a civil matter. And finally, Alvin Bragg is charging Donald Trump with fraud by exaggerating the value of Mar-a-Lago in a way that allowed him to get a loan. The banks that gave him the loans who had much more sophisticated auditors than Alvin Bragg, were very happy with the loans. Donald Trump paid them timely. They made millions of dollars in interest profits. They had no complaint. There was no victim. And people who look at Mar-a-Lago in today's real estate suggest that maybe it had been undervalued. And that's where we are with this legal exposure. And I think it's so weaponized and politicized that I think the American people won't stand for it. And they're already falling apart. The sheer corruption involved with all these blue state, big city indictments with liberal prosecutors and liberal judges and liberal jury pools. And it's a form of lawfare which comes on top of Russian collusion, Russian disinformation, and trying to remove Trump from the ballot, which blew up. It will blow up with the Supreme Court rule.
So, assuming that there are clever people in the Democrat political firmament, why is it that they don't understand that weaponizing the justice system simply builds an even deeper view amongst many Americans that the elites are dismissive of them, that the cancer is so bad, I think to use a term that you have, that you've got to go for a radical chemotherapy and a Donald Trump because it's so serious that you've really got to go for, as the old saying had it, the doctor, big time. Why can't they see that all the things you've talked about, the dishonesty, the weaponization of it, the refusal to front up to real issues, actually plays right into the hands of their political opponents in ways that are self-defeating?
They can't see that because they won. They got caught by surprise in 2016 when he was supposed to have lost the popular vote anywhere by 8 to 10 points and have election blowout in the Electoral College, and they got surprised. And when they looked at his governance, it was the most effective governance, whether you like him or not, in 50 years. And they were furious because they felt, undoing the Progressive Project. So they said in 2020, we're never going to let this happen again. And they won. I mean, 70% of the American population in most key states did not vote on Election Day. That had never happened. And yet the rejection rate went from the typical 4 to 5% of mail-in and unauthenticated ballots to about 0.3 by a magnitude. So they looked at this and said, we stopped him. And it doesn't matter how we did it. And we ameliorated the damage that could have been done had we not cooked up the Russian collusion, had we not impeached him twice, had we not brought in the laptop and said it was a product of disinformation right before the election. And Molly Ball, the liberal journalist that wrote for Time in February of 2021, outlined the entire, she called it, not me, she called it a cabal and a conspiracy. Mark Zuckerberg, to take one example, infused $419 million to absorb the work of registrars and key precincts. So what I'm getting at, John, is when they look at it, they said Donald Trump is a threat to the Western postmodern world, the global world village, and we stopped him. And we did it with heroic measures, and we're going to do it again. And maybe the means should not be justified by the ends, but these are noble ends, and therefore they should be. And we're going to do it again. And that's how and these people are very explicit about it. When they have never apologized for the Christopher Steele hoax. The 51 former intelligence authorities have never apologized that right before a debate and just 2 weeks before an election, they told the American people that everything that Donald Trump said about the Biden family that came out of the laptop was a lie, and it was cooked up on his behalf in Moscow. They don't feel there's... Andrew McCabe, the FBI director, 4 times he lied under federal. He's never apologized. James Comey pled amnesia 245 times under oath to a congressional committee. Never. They don't think they have to. And they feel that Donald Trump was not part of the Clinton, Bush, Romney, Obama, McCain, Obama, that nexus of the bipartisan political dynamic in America, that he was completely without experience, said things that you're not supposed to say, talked in a way, a fashion that was beyond the pale, and they felt that they had the right to destroy him. And they did not like his supporters. These were the losers of globalization. We've talked about that before. And so they feel they're going to do it again. And they feel that they have control of the institutions. They feel, well, they have the people. The conservatives have the people. There's no doubt about that. The majority of Americans are conservative, and they're getting more conservative, especially so-called liberal minorities who are transforming into conservatives. But we have the institutions. We have the media. We have the corporate boardroom. We have Silicon Valley. We have entertainment, foundations, K through 12, academia, professional sports. We control the means of communication and knowledge retrieval. And we can thwart the majority. And that's what they do by changing ballot laws or trying to get rid of the Electoral College or Senate filibuster or whatever the institution is that's not conducive to the agenda at hand. They feel they have institutional power to change and transform America.